The technology that they have is far beyond anything you can imagine. It is consciousness based technology. And I'm going to tell you something. The light that people see on the ships when they go into the ships, the
Uh-huh.
light is source consciousness. It is God. It is reality itself flowing through the ship, which means the ship is alive. The ship is alive with consciousness, pure divine consciousness.
Welcome to Galactic Good Vibes, a Good Vibes TV original series where we hold grounded, heart centered conversations with firsthand experiencers who've had direct contact and are stepping forward during this pivotal era of disclosure. Today, I'm joined by Nadalee Hill, the CEO of the United Experiencers Initiative and a firsthand experiencer with over 17 years of UFO activity and 2 years of direct contact experiences. Nadalee has stepped forward to support experiencers, reduce stigma, and help humanity navigate disclosure with compassion and clarity. I'm honored to share her story with you. Welcome, Nadalee, from Tennessee.
Thank you so much for having me today. We're going to have a blast. We got a lot to talk about. And this is what I do. This is my main job on this planet. So,
well, I'm so glad to be interviewing you. I started this series because I felt like there really was a need to find out from experiencers. Now, I will disclose I am not an experiencer, but I am a believer. I definitely know that I totally accept that there are ETs, many ET civilizations, and I've been learning myself just about them. I've tried to make contact. I've seen some things in the sky, but it's not definitive enough for me to say. Like for me, experience, I want like direct contact, and kind of that's my standard for calling myself an experiencer. So I'm very excited to be able to talk with you today. Now, before you started having these UFO experiences, Nadalee, how would you describe your life? What path were you on before you started with the UFOs?
I've always just been very a logical person. I'm very grounded. I love science, biology, all the math, quantum mechanics, all that stuff. And I've always loved science fiction, and I've always been drawn towards alien movies and alien games and stuff. But I didn't make the connection of why I had that connection till later. But I'm just just an average, really um, geeky girl, whatever word they're using nowadays. Yeah, I was living my life, and I'm happy. I'm still happy. I'm even more happy than I was. But I I am even more happy that they made contact with me and helped me realize why I'm here. Otherwise, I had like this my whole life. I had this feeling in my heart, like I wanted to help humanity. I wanted to do something, and I didn't know what it was, and I felt kind of lost in that area. But now I am on the right track, and I know what I need to do.
So you said you had an out-of-body experience when you were 13. Was that your first UFO experience, or can you tell us about your first one?
So I saw a girl in a glass box, like a pretty big box, not too cramped, but she had black hair. She was a human. She had black hair to her shoulders, and she was wearing a nightgown. And she was banging on the glass, and she was afraid and crying. And then the ETs noticed my presence, and they turned to looked at me, and I went instantly back into my body and woke up, and I was like, what was that? Like, that was insane. And my mom brushed it off as a dream, and it stuck with me for forever. So it'd be a long time after that before I had any contact. But I think somebody or something was showing me that there was more going on in the world, in the universe, and just kind of planting those seeds. And I feel like they planted those seeds throughout my life and kind of directed me a little bit to help me wake up.
So that was your first encounter. And then when was your next one? When did it become a regular thing?
I started seeing UFOs right when almost like a week after I moved here to Tennessee. And it started out as like orbs in the sky and sometimes triangle crafts in the distance. And then it started escalating. December 23rd, 2008 is when I saw my first flying saucer. And that was one of the biggest turning moments of my life. I was in my front yard facing the north, and I had my camera on a tripod. And I was actually using a method of blocking the sun, looking for things in the sky. Like you can see things reflecting when you block the sun. It's really interesting thing you can do. But anyway, I was doing that, and then I looked to my right towards the west ridge, and there was a flying saucer. It was about 20, 30 feet in diameter. It was all gray, dark gray metallic, and it was a dome. The whole thing was a dome, and then it stopped and went to a flat bottom. And when I made eye contact with this thing, it's like my whole time, everything stood still. It felt surreal, and I just felt like it was a dream. I was like, oh my god, this is not happening. This is crazy. This is wild. And I was just like, and then everything just started calming down. And then I felt like they knew I was looking at them, and I felt like my consciousness was linked to the ship somehow. Like I was on the ship looking back at myself almost. And I was just like in awe of this moment. And then when I finally came to my senses and kind of pulled myself out of that trance, I whipped my camera around, and it was gone in a blink of an eye. It was like it was never even there. But I saw a tiny little glimmer in the distance, directly away from where it was. So I kept recording, and I zoomed in a little bit, and I actually got a little footage of that craft in the distance. It looks like a little metallic dot shining, and then I blew up a still shot of it, and you can kind of see it looks like a dome. But anyway, that experience changed my life forever and made me the woman I am today. Honestly, that's when things started opening up more, and they had started coming around closer in the skies.
Did the experiences happen more frequently then? Weekly, daily,
Okay,
monthly? Yeah, tell us more.
so after that, they would give me some periodic time to like relax and soak in the encounters and stuff. And I started recording them constantly. Like I had a camera on me everywhere I went, and I would camp outside in the cold weather, no matter what day it is, what season it is. I was out there, and I caught hundreds of different videos of all kinds of stuff. I started encountering like I saw a black triangle craft right over my house one night. It literally was like almost hovering still and like moving very slowly, and went right over the house. And that was something that I encountered, and it was just a real brief thing. And I was like, what? I was that one left me in shock for a minute. I was like, oh my god, this is wild. um I saw the three orb formations constantly, and try the other triangle crafts in the distance further away. And I would see lights coming up from the mountain out here in Tennessee. They would come up and stop and just blink out. It's absolutely amazing. Fast forward a little bit, I started becoming spiritual. I started moving away from religion and becoming more spiritual and going more into myself about probably 3.5 years ago. And I noticed at some point when I reached a certain spiritual development of love for myself and others in a non-egotistical way, they started contacting me in my dreams. First, it was very vague. And the first dream encounter I had, I was on a bed. I was in my bed, but I was in the yard. I was in the front yard. And I was laying down, and I heard some weird noises in my head. It was really weird. And then it was like they were connecting cables, like rearranging cables and connecting cables to my brain, as to maybe give me an idea of what they were doing. Like they were helping me connect and reprogramming something probably in my DNA or my aura. But while they were doing that, I saw four, no, not four, it was probably like 10 grays standing on the mountain. I seen them in my peripheral in the dream. They were very blurry, but I knew they were grays. They were standing on the hill, and they were looking down at me while they were doing the surgery. And then I woke up. So that was like the first dream contact that I had. They started contacting me more in my dreams. It started becoming more clear, and I started having more lucid dreams, and they would literally start talking to me. And there was one time where I found myself in a lucid dream, and I was in an arts and crafts room, and I was playing with a hot glue gun, and I was like, oh cool, I'm gonna make glitter glue come out of this gun. And so I did that, and I heard a being behind me. Like, I couldn't turn around to look at him or anything, but I heard a being behind me, and he said, why do you love us so much? And I said, and I knew it was them instantly. I knew it was the ETs at large, whatever race. It didn't matter to me. They're all the same. They're all beautiful, connected. But I said, because you guys are amazing. Because you love us so much, and I love you so much, and we're going to do so much great things together. I could feel it. And they said, okay. And then there was another male. They were both male, and there was another male behind him, and I felt like psychically behind him. And he said, when are you going to start your movie? And I was like, movie? What are you talking about? And then the other guy said, I don't think she's supposed to know about that yet. So I was like, what is going on here? And then I woke up. So that was interesting, and that does come into play in my story. At this point, I'm telepathically in communication with them, and I can hear them in my mind. It's like a feeling in your heart, and you just know. It's like sometimes it's an intuition, it's a feeling, it's love, and it's usually here in the center, and they fill you with so much love. But sometimes it's also an idea or a concept in your head or an urge to do something, and all that combined together. One night, they gave me the urge to sit down and go to Photoshop, and I made a symbol with their direction. They helped me design it, and I said, okay, what is this symbol for? And they said, it's for disclosure, but you'll know what it's for later. And I was like, what? And I was like, okay, whatever. So I was like, I put it on a flag, I put disclosure on it. We are disclosure. I got so excited about the symbol, and I love it. It's now the symbol of the United Experiences Initiative, but we'll get to that. So they gave me the symbol, and I didn't know what to do with it other than put it on the flag and just show it to the world and say, hey, this represents disclosure. So around this time, I started getting taken onto the ships. And I'm going to tell you about the first time and the second time, and I'll leave the third time for a little bit later. But the first time in 2024. Now, mind you, I have been taken my whole life. These are abduction experiences that I have experienced at the time, like of remembering it. So I was taken at 2 years old, but that was not gathered later until I did regression therapy. So this happened in 2024. And I went to sleep, as one usually does in their bed. I woke up in the middle of the night. I was vibrating. Now, before I tell you this, I always tell everyone there's two different types of ways that extraterrestrials can take you. They can take you physically, or they can take you out of body. This particular experience was out of body. So in the middle of the night, I started vibrating, and I started floating up out of my bed, and then I was flipped around. And then I saw my physical body laying in the bed, and I was like, oh my God, I'm out of my body. This is insane. And I just felt like relaxed though, and I was happy, but I knew that they were in control. But I knew I didn't have anything to worry about. So they flipped me back around. I saw the ceiling again, then they flipped me this way, then back this way, almost like they were scanning me or calibrating me or something. And next thing I know, I black out. And then I find myself waking up standing on the ship. Now, mind you, I'm pretty sure I'm still in energetic form or aura form, but I'm standing there in this dark room, and there's these beings standing on my left and right side. They're gray, some type of gray beings. There's many different types of grays. And I didn't feel threatened. I didn't feel scared or anything, but they started like tapping my body, and they had extra long fingers, and they were gray. and they started tapping my body, and it was more than two, it was a whole bunch of them. And it was almost like they were just checking me, like giving me a pat down or whatever. And and I thought it was normal, and I was like, okay, this is like a normal procedure. I felt like I've done it before. And then I black out again. And then I wake up sitting in a chair. Now in my mind, they made me remember it certain ways, but I know I was in a chair, but it was like a wooden chair, the way I remembered it. But I was in a chair in another dark room, and I heard the ET by my right side. It was another gray. And he said, "We're gonna drill your leg now." And I said, "Okay." I was just like, yeah, I was just so relaxed and happy. They just, yeah, they're in full control. But I wasn't scared. But anyway, I looked down and I saw him approaching my upper right leg with this drill. Now, in my mind, I perceived it as like a drill from a tool shed, like a normal drill bit. But he started drilling into my leg, and it only hurt just a little bit. And I think this whole procedure was a representation of them working on my energy body. So they started drilling into my leg, and it only felt like a shot, like a really intense shot that you would get from the doctor. But I was like, okay, that's a little uncomfortable, but it's okay. And I was like, cool. And I've always watched doctors stitch me up and stuff in the hospital, so that doesn't really bother me. So he got to my bone, and I started like hyperventilating a little bit, like I was freaking out a little bit. And he was like, "Shh, it's okay, it's all right." And then I passed out. And then I found myself waking up in another dark room, and I'm sitting in this other chair, and there's a table in front of me, and there's another chair on the other side of the table facing me. And this woman comes in with curly red poofy hair. She has a round face, and I can't really see her facial features too much, or they didn't let me remember. She comes in, she walks around my left side and sits right in front of me, and she starts asking me questions, and it felt like an evaluation. It felt like she was asking me questions to do with something that I'm supposed to do here on this planet. But other than that, I don't know what the questions were. So after that, I completely blacked out and woke up back in my body, and I was like, "Oh my God, I was on the ship last night." It was absolutely insane. But so that's important for my story. This happened June 6th, 2024. And the other one happened January 6th, but this is June 6th, 2024. And so about 2 weeks before this event, I went to the dentist, and I had some teeth taken out, and they had to give me anesthesia, liquid anesthesia. And my body didn't really react too well. We'll talk about that later. I kept feeling groggy and tired like the next 2 weeks after the procedure. So I was in contact with the ETs at the time, which I call the Galactic Federation sometimes. And I said, okay, something is going on with my brain. I think the anesthesia has messed me up somehow. And I just, put in a really polite request. I was very humble about it. And you have to be humble. You have to be respectful and go about it with love. But I was like, I can't do these live streams. I can't help the world if I'm feeling like this. And I went to bed. And then I woke up like nothing happened. And I had red grid marks on my back, 2 red grid mark patterns. And it's actually called the red grid mark phenomenon. You can look it up on Facebook. There's like 2 Facebook groups led by Brian, I think his name is. Amazing guy. He's the researcher of it. But anyway, I woke up with these marks on my back. They weren't indentions. They didn't itch. They didn't burn. They didn't sting. Nothing. I didn't even know they were there. My girlfriend saw them when I got out of bed. And they lasted for 5 days and slowly turned into a light sunburn and faded away. But the most important part is when I woke up with these marks on my back, I felt amazing. I felt like I could run a marathon. I was just like, oh my God, that was so full of energy, like a B12 shot or something. And so the whole day I went to work, and I was so excited. I was so happy. And that night before I went to sleep, I was like, okay, please, come clean with me. What happened? I need to know what happened. Can you show me something or tell me something? I want to know what happened. How did you do that? What is going on here? So I went to bed, and I woke up on the ship. I was literally laying on the table, and I don't I'm pretty sure it was a memory being unlocked or given back to me. Now, I maybe they took me again. I think it was a memory though. That's what my instinct's telling me. But I was laying there on the table. It was a white table, a white room. Everything was super clean and beautiful and just loving. It felt amazing on the ship. It always does. And I'm laying there, and have a tube. I can feel a tube in my right nostril and a tube in my right ear. And I knew there was something there, and I knew instinctively that it was a tube. Somehow I just knew. I was like, okay, they've got tubes in me. And I tried to look to my left and my right, and I couldn't. My head was just like paralyzed just enough to where I couldn't move my head. But I can look down. I lifted my head and looked down at the end of the table, and I saw 4 or 5 beings standing there, all dressed in tight blue suits, all had blonde hair. They were all male, very muscular. And collectively in my mind, they said, "Shh, it's okay." And then I passed out. And I woke up in my bed, and I was like, oh my God, yes, it was the Pleiadians. Thank you so much. I was just so grateful that they showed me what happened.
Did they explain? Was it like a B12 shot? What was that treatment for? Did you find?
They didn't really go into detail about the procedure. They were just showing me that they did have a hand in it, that's what happened. I don't remember anything going on with my back. I was laying on the table, so maybe the table left the mark somehow.
And how long did that energy last for you?
Oh, for about 4 days, and it kind of tapered off back to normal, but it was like a boost. Absolutely.
Okay. So that you think maybe you were taken physically?
Yes,
As
that
opposed to,
was, yeah,
okay. Was
that
that the
was a
first
physical.
physical experience you think?
Yeah, it was the first physical experience that I remember. Now, I know I've been taken many other times. I'm having flashbacks come back here and there. Different things trigger flashbacks. I really knew I need to do a lot more regression therapy. But so that's the first physical experience that I experienced at the time of remembering it. Let's just say that.
So that was June of 2024. And so since then, are you communicating with them just telepathically whenever you just want to talk to them? Or you have to wait to get the answers, you have to wait till you go to sleep?
I could talk to them anytime, any time of the day. It doesn't matter. Usually, like my mood affects my capability to contact them. So if I'm in a really agitated mood or something, it's not going to be that well of a connection. But if I'm very relaxed, if I had a good day, you know, it's going to be a lot easier for me to contact them. So I just relax, fill my heart with love, because telepathic communication, this is what I teach everyone. Telepathic communication is not mind to mind, it's soul to soul, it's heart to heart. So the more love you have in your heart, the more calm you are, the more you're going to be able to contact them, the easier it will be. But yeah, I can contact them anytime. Usually, I'm usually in a good mood most of the time anyway. I had this urge one night to create this organization to help humanity, and it wasn't just me. It was I was in a group of a few other people, um, and they all had the same urge to create a nonprofit for experiencers. But some things happened, and turns out I'm the only one that's kind of went through with it. So I was going through with it. I started trying to come up with a name for the organization, which I settled on the United Experiencers Initiative. And then I realized it clicked in my head and my heart, and everything just went, "Ah." The symbol that they had given me was the symbol for the United Experiencers Initiative. And they said, in my mind, that's it. You've made the connection. Now make it a thing. So I was like, okay, I don't know business. I don't know any of this stuff. I'm like, why me? Why me? But they're like, somebody has to do it. But I agreed to do this when I came here to this planet. So I'm learning, the reactivating things in my mind. We'll get to that. So fast forward a little bit. After I ordered some business cards for the future and everything. And then they give me a vision in my dream. And I'm standing in the desert. And they said, there's a plane going overhead, and it was pulling a banner, those little advertising banners, and it said, "Have you been to the desert lately?" And they had coordinates behind it, and I don't remember the coordinates when I woke up, but I had coordinates behind it, and it was just going overhead, and I was like, whoa. And then I woke up. I still get chill bumps over that one. I woke up, and I was like, wow, that was not just a dream. That means something. I felt that in my heart that means something. And I was like, what does that mean? The desert. So I was like, okay, when I'm meant to figure it out, it'll come back up. I'll see a sign or something. So I just kind of let it go. And about a month or 2 months later, I wish I'd broke down the timeline, but I see an ad for, this is where my story gets absolutely insane. I see an ad for Contact in the Desert, and it's this alien convention. If nobody knows what that is, it's this ET convention, and it's the world's biggest ET convention with the most important people and disclosure, and everybody gets together for a whole week. Absolutely amazing. But I was like looking at this ad, and I felt them in my mind and my heart and my whole body. They were like, that's it. You've got to go to Contact in the Desert. And they made that connection in my mind. They helped me. The desert, the vision, and Contact in the Desert. And I was like, oh my God. I still get chill bumps over that one. So I was like, okay. They were like, you need to go and advertise and network for the United Experiences Initiative. I was like, okay, first of all, I've never networked before. I've never gone on a vacation by myself before. And like I'm doing all these adult things for the first time. And I'm like, oh, but I'm also excited. And I'm also like pumped up about it. So I was like, how am I going to get there? How am I going to make this work? Right. So I was like, all right, I'm going to get a loan. So I had to get a loan to pay for the business trip. So this is very crazy. It's going to get crazy here. So 2 weeks before I get on the plane, my wallet was stolen out of my car. Okay. So my ID, my social security number, everything was stolen out of my car. And I was like, how am I going to get on the plane? I have no ID. I have no social security card. So I was racking up documents. I was like piling them this high to be able to get on that plane. Like everything I could prove that I'm here, in the United States. And at the same time, the TSA was cracking down, and hearing stories about people not being able to get on the plane. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to go. I'm not going to get there. I didn't have enough faith. So 1 week before I get on the plane, they issued the special ID, or the real ID. And I was like, oh my God, this is getting worse. I'm not going to be able to get on this plane. I was I was breaking out, and I was stressing that so much. And so I had already ordered my license, and I got a little receipt, but they told me that wouldn't help me get on the plane, and I didn't have my social security card. It didn't come until way after. That was crazy. But so the day before, now get this is wild. The day before I go to get on the plane, my work offers me VL. It stands for voluntary leave. So they gave me the day off because they had too many people. So I was like, I accept. I'd like to take this VL today, the day before my trip or possible trip. I was like, heck yeah. So I leave work, I get to my car in the parking lot, and I'm sitting there. And then I hear them in my heart and in my mind. They said, go to the DMV and apply for your real ID. And I was like, it's not gonna work, but okay, still, I should, now I have way more faith in them now. I don't question them at all. But I applied for that, and then I had to get some other paperwork for the courthouse. So they said, go to the courthouse, get that paperwork. Yeah, this is two different things, same day. They said, go to the courthouse and get that paperwork. And the courthouse was a breeze. I went right through and got the paperwork. And when I went to the airport, first of all, the big giant stack of documents that I collected, I put them in my suitcase, and they packed it under the plane. right? And I'm like, oh my God, I screwed up. But I had an envelope with those pieces of paper that I got the day before my trip and a few other things. I still had that paper, the envelope on me, and I was like, oh, thank God, maybe that'll be enough. When I got to the TSA line, and he called up the guy and he asked me some questions and everything because I had to communicate with someone else. And he hung up and he said, that's weird. They usually take forever to answer, and I wouldn't have been able to get on the plane if it took longer. So that's number one thing. And then he said, you're good to go. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God. I could breathe. I was like, oh, this is happening. This is happening. So, yeah. So those two pieces of paper that I got that day before the plane trip is what got me on that plane. How insane and beautiful is that? It still gives me chill bumps. God.
So maybe the lesson in all of that was for you to trust them more. Like you said, your faith increased in knowing that they're working with you even from the other side. So it kind of reminds me of people talk about, I come from more of a metaphysical background, our spirit guides, our angels, our, higher self in this, that if we communicate, genuinely with them, and listen, really, it's our intuitive listen, we're good,
Right.
and it's important to remember that. So, and I wanted to make a comment too about what you said, why me, why did you pick me to do this, initiative? And I think it's your willingness, because it seemed, those experiences that you talked about being brought onto the ship, whether it was telepathically or physically, you were so willing and open
Mm-hmm.
that, a lot of people, you hear about these other stories that people are so fearful and it's so traumatic for them. But you were so willing and trusting and open that, they can work with you more. So I guess that's what I'm taking from your story, not to fear them, because that
Right.
fear is what, like you said, and fear and love are opposites on the spectrum. What happened when you got to contact in the desert? What kind of
Oh,
miracles and
okay.
things happened there?
So let's turn the page in the story. Completely new chapter. Okay, so I met so many amazing people, even on the plane going there, and just like people, everybody was just so nice, so happy. I love California, by the way. It was in California. Um, so I had to go to one hotel and then the main hotel for the events. But when I got to the first hotel and packed in for the nights, and I was laying there in bed, and I said, okay, if you guys really want me to do this, if you're on my side, I need you to help me a little bit more, because I was like, I've never networked before. I've never like talked about an organization or tried to do any of this stuff before. So I just put that out there, and then I went to sleep, and I woke up, and I woke up with this most amazing just surge of energy. I felt like a laser beam. I was just like, and I felt like I had been activated, and it felt like I knew how to network. I knew how to do like basic business stuff. I'm still learning the technical stuff, but like the basic how to talk, when to listen. And the whole time they were telling me in my mind, they said, shh, listen, and now you can talk. So they were kind of guiding me a little bit throughout the trip as well. But they also activated me, and I just felt like I was just like, I was in my element. Like when I say I was in my element, I was a fish in the ocean, and it was a beautiful ocean, and it was amazing. I wish I could have lived in that week forever. That would be my heaven. I was surrounded by people just like me, and I just sorry, I'm getting emotional. But I talked to a lot of important people in disclosure, and I now have a lot of connections because of that trip. And it's really helped the United Experiences Initiative so much, and it's bloomed out from that to many other connections. Like I know this person now because they know that person, and it's like planting a seed, and it just grows. And now the UEI is growing at an exponential rate and making connections behind the scenes, and we're about to break that surface of the dirt, and we're about to explode into a giant tree and a forest. It's going to be amazing. But anyway, kind of let me calm down a little bit. I get excited. So at the event, I actually met two Pleiadians in person, physically, physically in public, and I'm going to tell you that encounter. So, I was standing like maybe 10 feet away from Chris Bledsoe's booth, and he was talking and everything. You know, he likes to talk a lot. um, so there was these two women standing in front of his booth, and they were kind of like further back, and he was talking to some other people, but they were like behind these other people, and they were just observing very delicately, very elegantly, and they had their hands like this or something like this. I can't remember exactly, but they had their hands cupped in front of them, real gracefully, like down to their waist, and they were just like smiling and listening, being very quiet. And I noticed their energy was like really off, like not off, but like different. And I felt like a different vibration was coming off of them. And they had blonde hair. They were both female, and their skin was very pale, and they had blue eyes, and they were wearing black velvet. So I walk up to them, and immediately they looked at me. Like, I didn't have to say anything. They just looked at me, and I immediately in my mind thought, oh my God, these are Pleiadians. And something happened. It was like something just went, and then I completely like lost track of my thoughts. And then I was like, okay, that's weird. And then I started talking to them about the United Experiences Initiative and gave them my business card. But the whole time they were just like, They didn't even say They just was like shaking their head, like nodding their head, and just being so kind and so sweet. And the other one was standing beside her, and she looked over. She was just looking over at me like this, and they didn't really move too much. They just was watching me, and I noticed the black velvet was like really shiny and thick, and I was like, wow, it's very hot. It was very hot in California. It was in May. So I was like, that's weird. But it was like they got into my head and made me forget what I was thinking about them being Pleiadians, right? And then I didn't realize it till later when I got home all the way to Tennessee. It was like something was just like lifted off of me, and I was like, oh my God, those are Pleiadians. I literally handed my business card to two Pleiadian women at Contact in the Desert, and I wasn't the only one that saw them. There was a few other select people that actually saw them at the event as well, so that's a little confirmation. But their hair was so thin and so shiny and gold, and oh my God, their energy is just so fantastic and so calming, like angelic, and just so beautiful. Oh my God.
Wow, that's amazing. So I guess they didn't think that anyone would notice them.
Yeah, they some ETs like Pleiadians and others have the ability to like shield themselves psychologically from other people, so they can get to make them kind of like go invisible, like kind of like a psychic trick to make you not see them. But some people whose frequencies are high enough in the love, you're able to see them. So you're at that frequency level.
Right, because it's all about energy. Wow.
It's beautiful.
So are there more stories to share from Contact in the Desert, or
yes, a little bit more?
Okay, tell me more.
So let's see. We actually captured a few UFO videos from Contact in the Desert. I was having dinner with some friends that I made there, and an orb showed up right in the sky behind us, and I had my camera ready. It was already on the tripod sitting next to us in the dinner. It was like an outside public dinner area, but I was like, oh my God, there they are. So I took my camera and recorded them. So that was one event. And then later we saw two faint orbs like right next to each other going across the sky, and I got that on camera as well. I had to like enhance it to see both of them, but they were in there. And so the whole trip was absolutely magical, absolutely amazing, mind-blowing, life-changing, and I made so many connections. So when the whole trip wrapped up, I got on the plane. After about, I can't remember exactly, maybe 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes being on the plane, I had this feeling to look out the window. And I look out the window, and there's this cigar-shaped craft literally flying right outside the plane. Literally, like, about probably 300, 500 feet away from the craft, from the plane. And I was like in shock for a minute. I was like, what am I looking at here? And my logical mind was trying to like figure out what I'm looking at. And I was like, oh my God, that's a craft. And so I pulled up my phone really fast. And for some reason, I just took pictures. I was like, picture, 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 instead of hitting record. But I got a series of pictures of that craft over the desert. And it was about, estimation, about 6-7 feet long, about 2-3 feet in diameter thickness, and it was white and kind of flat. But it was a cigar shaped craft, and I'm recording. I'm like taking pictures, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, do I say something? do I say something and sound like a crazy person to all these people, and like they might like put me in custody? Like, and like, because the thing is, when you see stuff, not other people may not be able to see it, because sometimes they can show themselves to certain people. So I decided to keep it private to myself. But I was like, okay. So I calmed down after that. Imagine calming down after that. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna shut my eyes for a bit. So I lowered the blinds, the little flappy thing on the window, and then I had this feeling to look out again. And I look out, and I see this tiny little white glimmering craft, or this little spot in the sky. And I was like, okay. So I took my phone and I zoomed in on it. It was just sitting there, glimmering in the sun. And I got footage of that one. And I was like, oh, cool. So I logged all the times and everything. All these are in MUFON. I have a case for all of these. But so later, again, they were like, look out the window again. So I looked out the window, and it was a black craft this time, way off in the distance, just floating there. And I got a video of that one as well. So I felt like they were giving me an applause or an escort out of California, saying, good job, you did good, confirmation, cherry on top, So that was beautiful.
Dr. Stephen Greer has talked about, well, and you even mentioned how they're positive ETs and negative ETs. Can you distinguish between, and also they've talked about how the government has, reverse engineered in their government ETs, right? So can you distinguish, or how do you distinguish between which is like a government created craft, man-made craft, versus a positive ET craft versus maybe a negative ET craft? Can you tell? Or do you think it's just your vibration? Like if you're in a higher vibration, you're only going to attract higher vibrating things, right? That's kind of the way metaphysics works. So I'm thinking it works the same way in this ET world.
Mm-hmm. So there is a way to determine physically by looking at the craft. First of all, that's the step one. If it looks like it's made of parts and like has seams and looks really rudimentary, I can't say that word, rudimentary, then it's most likely man-made. Not saying that it is man-made, but that's one checkbox that you can check that possibly it's man-made. Number two, if you don't have a feeling of love coming from it, or a message of peace, or anything like that, then that's another thing. Number three, if you're vibrating in a place of love and kindness and purity, you're going to attract positive beings. If it's a negative being, they're not going to want to be around you too much, because it'd be like fire to them. Your aura would literally like hurt their energy, and it's too disruptive for them. So it's like oil and water. Oils doesn't attract water, vice versa.
Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Great. Okay, so do we turn the page again? Is there a next chapter?
What I'm about to tell you there is a lot of other experiencers out there talking about the same kind of stuff that backs this up. Since the 1960s, experiencers have been coming out talking about their hybrid children. And they used to play us like on late night TV shows, like mystery shows or whatever. And sometimes they would paint us in this goofy light and make us look really like crazy, right? But either way, we've been talking about it since the 1960s. We've been trying to get people to listen a little bit. But This hybrid program is it's the most common hybrid program that people like me get involved in. Now, there are other hybrid programs that exist. I don't know the details of those because I'm not involved in those and I'm not educated in those, but this is the most important one that you really need to understand because it involves humanity's future. So, there's 3 different hybrids within this program. And type 1 is 99 to 95, give or take, percentage of humanity. All of humanity has alien DNA inside your genome. That's right. There is no 100% human on this planet. That's why you have back problems, have to wear shades in the sun. That's why you get sunburned. That's why you have all these problems on this planet, because we're not 100% from this planet. That is a whole nother story. Like the Anunnaki came here, edited our DNA, and kind of like made us slaves and stuff. That's what they say anyway. I kind of subscribe to that as well, but that's a whole nother tangent. We're just going to leave it at that. So type 1, everyone has a small amount of alien DNA and alterations in your DNA. Type 2 are people like me. I am a type 2 hybrid, or as Max Rempel, the geneticist that I'm teamed up with, we'll talk about him in a minute, he calls them earthborn hybrids. And I call them type 2 hybrids. Now, we both come to the same conclusion based on our research and everything we've gathered and been told by the ETs. I'm a type 2 hybrid. I'm an earthborn hybrid, and there's millions of us out there. So first of all, how did type 2 hybrids get more alien DNA? We have more alien DNA than type 1. How did we get that DNA, first of all? Well, it happens over 4 generations. The Galactic Federation, or group of ETs, whatever word you want to use, select individuals from the type 1 category, the ones with the most alien DNA in the type 1 category, and they follow that family line for 4 generations, and they insert more alien DNA each generation. They insert a little bit more alien DNA, so every time the mother gets pregnant, they insert more alien DNA, and then do that for 4 generations, and by the 4th time, you get someone like me, a type 2 hybrid, an earthborn hybrid. We have more alien DNA. Now, why do we have this alien DNA? This is important. Now, there are souls that are floating around existence within reality that want to help, that have experienced so many things in their lives in different lifetimes, and now they just want to help. They just want to incarnate to help civilizations raise their frequencies and get to a point where they can break them out of tyranny and hatefulness and wars. So these souls go to particular groups within reality, particularly this one we're talking about, this universe, the Galactic Federation. Souls go to the Galactic Federation and they say, hey, I would like to help out Earth. And they're like, okay, well, we need to design you a specific body. Type 2 hybrids, type 2 hybrid bodies. That's why they created type 2 hybrid vessels for our souls to incarnate into. Now, why would we need special bodies? Well, they taught me that DNA has a frequency. It has 2 frequencies. The first frequency is the genetic physical makeup. It's the actual genetic code. That's a frequency in itself. There's another frequency. It's like the quantum frequency. It's the overall spiritual essence frequency of the DNA. Both of these have to be aligned to a certain frequency to allow your soul to incarnate into that body. So it's like an antenna for your soul. So it has to be aligned perfectly so we can be here. Now, our type 2 hybrid bodies have things that help us do our job. Like, we're more psychic when we're born. We are very sensitive to people's emotions. We can sometimes read people's minds. Some of us more than others. We're not created equal as type 2 hybrids. We all have different jobs. But there's a lot of drawbacks. But there are a lot of type 2 hybrids out there, and they don't even know who they are. A lot of us are abductees. A lot of us are highly functioning autistic, nonverbal autistic, ADHD. These are all characteristics. Not to say that if you have those, that doesn't necessarily make you a type 2 hybrid. Just something to check on the box. A lot of us are born prematurely. We're preemies, as they say. A lot of us have allergies, a lot of bad allergies from the environment to medications. Like I said earlier, my anesthesia didn't really affect well with my body. I almost died when I was born. I had a low immune deficiency. They had to give me a bunch of shots and build up my immunity my whole childhood. But I literally had like 106, 107 fever, and I literally like almost died because I was catching everything in the hospital. So that was a mystery to them, and it happens to a lot of us. So there are some drawbacks, but I think that closeness, this part is my assumption, I think the closeness to that up to the other side, like almost dying at birth, kind of strengthens that connection to the other dimensions. But we'll put that to the side for now. So there's other things like you feel like you're from somewhere else, you feel like you want to go home, but you also feel like you're here to do something. Now, a lot of us feel like we are individuals on a mission, and we feel like we've been chosen to help humanity. The fact is, there's many of you. It's not just you, if you're listening to this. And it's not that we're chosen ones. It's that we chose to come here. And now is the time for us to unite to help humanity, to do your job. Some of us know our job. Some of us get activated like I did when I went to California. So there's that. So blood type. A lot of people have the blood type question. Like, if I have Rh negative blood, does that make me more alien or whatever? Rh negative blood is across the board between type 1 and type 2. So it doesn't really matter. A lot of type 2s, probably have a lot more Rh negative blood. But just because you don't have it doesn't make you not a type 2 hybrid. We just light up the room. A lot of our jobs are actually just to exist, to shine light into people's lives, to allow them to share their stories to you, because people open themselves up like a book to us. They just feel our energy and they feel comfortable with us, and they should. And it's difficult sometimes because we can feel people's emotions. We feel sadness. We feel the whole world sometimes. It depends on how much you've been working on yourself and doing your meditations, but sometimes we can feel the heaviness of the wars and everything. So sometimes it's hard to be here on this planet. A lot of us are also sensitive to solar flares too, like in big ways. The more you get awakened, the more sensitive you are to solar flares. They start activating more stuff inside of you, because the ETs have taught me that light has code, and solar flares has code in it from the universe. It reactivates part of your DNA that allows your soul to come through more, to be able to remember more lives, to be able to have more abilities. So now, type 1 hybrids, the rest of you do have psychic abilities. You do have the capabilities of being telepathic, remote viewing, all of that stuff. It's just that type 2s learn to do it easier because we're physically, genetically, frequency, or aligned better that way. And we're here to help you. We're here to help guide you, to help you love yourself more, to teach you these ways, to help you understand that there's more than what's in front of you, and that the universe is a grand place. But so with that said, there is a type 3. Now earlier we mentioned hybrid children. Now I met my hybrid child. These are type 3s. Type 3 hybrids are our children. That is type 2's children, hybrid children. These are also known by Max Rempel has labeled them starborn hybrids, and we are earthborn hybrids. So they are starborn hybrids. So they take our genetic material and they implant the female, and it stays in the belly for 4 months, and they take the fetus onto the ship, and it grows the rest of the way, and they grow up fast, way faster than human children. And for the male, I think the other way, they take the male's material and insert it into an ET female aboard the ship, and then they take it out of her after 4 months. So there's that. So these are starborn hybrids, or type 3 hybrids. These are our children. And they're so kind. They're so sweet. They have big eyes. A lot of them have different colored eyes. And some of them have black eyes. They're very, very petite, very tiny usually. Their hair is very thin. Either blonde, translucent, or any combination thereof. And they're very psychic. They don't speak verbally, they speak telepathically. Most of the time they only speak telepathically. and they can float things with their mind. That's how they play. They have these toys aboard the ship where they can float things and move things around, and orbs that they can move. It's like psychic toys. And then they're very kind, very gentle, but they can't be on the planet right now because of the frequencies that people give off, the negative frequencies and the fear frequencies. So they can't really be amongst people, but they can occasionally come down to Earth in private settings, like in your room or a closed location for the parent, like me, to see them. I saw my hybrid daughter here, right here, standing in this spot next to my bed. And that's when I realized I had hybrid children. And so in the middle of the night, I was laying there and I felt this tiny little hand kind of just clasp my fingers like this, tiny little cold hand. And I was only slightly startled, and I was really calm, really relaxed. I couldn't really move too much. And I look over to my left side, which is this way. And she's just standing there about 4 feet tall, just shining white light, white gown, and she's got big black eyes, very petite, like pale white skin, pale white hair, and she's just smiling. And she says, actually no, she didn't say anything yet, but I started tossing and turning for about 5 seconds as she was holding my hand, and it felt like she was pulling something out of me, like some kind of trauma from a past life that was trying to carry over into this life. And she pulled that out of me. I could feel it flowing out of my arm. And when that was over, I relaxed, and she's still holding my hand. And she says, "I'm here to help you, and we're going to keep helping you." And then I blacked out and woke up in the morning, and it took me a minute. I was like, wait a minute, that happened last night. So I have hybrid children. Now I know now that I have 9 and 1 on the way, because whenever I have another one on the way, they tell me in a dream, they showed me, and it's more than just a dream, it's a vision. They show me, I'm usually speaking to the female that is pregnant or bringing her into existence. So yeah, I have child number 10 on the way. A lot of us have around 10. And the reason that they exist is that when we go down the good timeline, when humanity decides to put all the weapons away and relax and everything, they will be allowed to come to the planet and be the teachers of humanity, to help humanity bridge the gap between humanity and the rest of the galactic community, to help you teach you telepathic abilities, to help you open up everything. So they will be a part of society, and they will be adults by then, most likely. They vary in age, but yeah, that's pretty much it for that.
Wow. This is new information for me. So my question is, for the type 2s, you said type 1 has, they're 95 to 99% human, and the rest is ET
That's
DNA.
right.
So what is the percentage in the type 2s and the type 3s?
I'm glad you asked. Me and Dr. Max Rimple are actually trying to figure that out. He is doing a genetic study right now, and we're trying to find those DNA markers within type 2 hybrids, abductees, people like us, where we can actually identify those genetic markers, and then we can actually give you a number and prove that we have more alien DNA than the rest of the population. Now, type 1 hybrid, type 1 people, that DNA is going to be so diluted, so mixed in, that's really hard to find. Type 2 is really particular because you have changes over 4 generations, and then there's certain markers in there that you can look for. It's a lot easier to pick out a golden egg amongst some blue eggs in an Easter egg basket, right? So we're looking for that, and it's looking good. Let's just say that, but we need funds. He needs funds to be able to do more genetic research. So, we're doing a campaign right now, and you can email me at, just ask me for more information, and I'll send it to you how to get involved with that if you're listening. And of course, the information will be in the description of this podcast. But, if we find that evidence, that's going to be one page for disclosure. That's like really important, and for experiencers, because we've been talking about this for a long time, that we have hybrid children. So yeah, it's easier for them to hybridize with type 2s because we have more alien DNA. But they can actually take type 2 hybrids like me and combine us with any race within the Federation that's part of this hybrid program. So we don't always hybridize with the same race. So there's different, it's like it's a whole field of flowers out there in the garden.
Of different types of species, ET species. How many of them have you encountered? I know you said Pleiadians, and I know you
Yes.
said tall grays. Do you have a number as to how many that you've experienced?
So, yes, I'll have to name them off and count them as I go. I can't remember the
Okay.
number. So I've met the Lyrans, which are cat-like beings, and I've only met them in dreams, dream contact. Then I've met the mantis beings, again, only dream contact and meditations, visions. And I've met the Pleiadians in every single way, in my room, on the ships, in my dreams, in person in California. And then I've met the blue avians one time. They were like a glittery, shimmery in my room one time, and they communicated to me. And then I met the many different types of grays. For now, we're just going to clump them into one box. I know I don't like to do that, but let's just say grays to be, simple. And then I met reptilians one time in a dream, and I, I think that's all of them that I can remember. And of course, hybrids. There's different hybrids that I've met. My children and another particular grown woman hybrid on the ship. And and also met a Pleiadian gray hybrid, I believe. So that's 8.
Okay, so the hybrids that you're talking about are not just human and ET, but they're also amongst the ETs different hybrids.
Yeah, they
Is that
can
right?
hybridize amongst themselves as well. To
Okay.
them, it's vessels for souls. Like
Right.
they incarnate into vessels, so they can create a specific kind of hybrid vessel for a particular job. You know, and another thing that they taught me about that goes along with that is that they taught me that they actually have soul transfer technologies because of this. So they can genetically design a body with the right frequencies for the right soul to go over into another body. Like, so if you align the antenna, the genetic frequency perfectly, you can leave your body and go into the other body and then get up. Ain't that amazing? It's like, it's absolutely
Changing
incredible. Yeah.
costumes,
Yeah,
really.
pretty much.
Changing your meat suit.
It's the technology that they have is far beyond anything you can imagine. It is consciousness-based technology. And I'm going to tell you something. The light that people see on the ships when they go into the ships, the light is source consciousness. It is God. It is reality itself flowing through the ship, which means the ship is alive. The ship is alive with consciousness, pure divine consciousness. And the ship responds to your thoughts, and they connect to the ships with their minds, and they fly the ships, and it's beautiful. They fly the ships with their minds.
Right.
But yeah,
Wow.
it's
Okay.
beautiful.
So your hybrid children, what ET species are they connected to? Are they Pleiadian or Mantis or
Well,
Greys? Do you know?
I know one is part gray and Pleiadian, and then mixed with me. So it was already a hybrid. So it was
Okay.
me and another hybrid. So now it's human and Pleiadian and gray mixed together. And the other ones I don't know. I don't know yet. I know they have different colored eyes, but they all have big eyes and very pale skin. So they all most likely have a little bit of gray in them. And
So they look humanoid. They
yeah,
look humanoid?
they're humanoid. They usually have their heads are a little bit bigger than normal children, but they're very kind, very sweet. I'll tell you about a regression session that I did, and it's very sweet. And this is how I came to know that I had more. So during this regression session, I found myself sitting on the ship, and my children were sitting in front of me, like in a circle, and I was like completing the circle. And there was a window in front of me, which was kind of behind them. It was like a long window like this, and I seen stars outside, but they were all floating a toy, like a red toy ball or something, and they were floating it around. And Nova, the one that I met in my room, I call her Nova because I said if I ever had a daughter, I would name her Nova. I call her Nova. But Nova was sitting on my left knee, and the rest of the children were in a circle. And one of the boys gets up and he was kind of on the right side of the circle. He gets up and he pulls me, like takes me by the hand, and he pulls me towards the window. And then Nova gets up and she allows me to stand up, and he pulls me towards the window, and I'm looking out, and I look down to the left, and I saw Earth. I saw Earth from space, and it was so beautiful. And he just wanted me to see that before I went back down to Earth. He wanted me to see Earth from space, and let me tell you, so beautiful, so amazing. And it was an experience that I'll never forget now. I love them so much, and I can't wait to be back with them or have them here on the planet. But it's so beautiful.
And so I guess you don't have any children here on the planet.
No. Now it is possible for type 2s to have children. Some of us are sterile, but it's possible that we can have children with other type 1 humans, type 1s. But that's where it gets a little bit more complicated. So like, if you, for example, it's kind of straightforward. If you have a baby with another type 2 hybrid, like if two type 2 hybrids got together, your child would keep all that hybrid DNA more pure. But if a type 2 hybrid got with a non-type 2 hybrid or a type 1, that DNA would be a little diluted, but that's okay. It's just a vessel for a soul, you know.
Right.
So everyone's capable of psychic abilities and increasing their frequencies and getting to the levels of type 2s. It's just that we have an easier way of getting there.
Of the type 3s, or you call them the starborn hybrids, well, do they have the same lifespan as humans, or do they live longer?
That's a good question. I know they grow up faster. That's all I really know. I don't know if they don't live as long, but I think maybe my instincts are telling me now. I don't know this. This is just me guessing and using my instincts. My instincts is telling me that they grow up to a certain point, and they stay at that point for a long time, for a while. So their DNA kind of slows down. They go really fast, and then it slows down. Their metabolism starts slowing down. So, yeah.
So they can live longer.
Yeah.
Because I know that I've heard about age lengthening or reverse aging technology that the ETs are supposed to be bringing us.
Yes, they have that technology as well. It goes along with their body creation technology, where they can do soul transfer and all that. They have perfected genetics to a degree of impossibilities that we can't imagine. So it's the mantis beings, or they have a lot of work in the genetic field and designing these bodies and doing things like that. So that is their forte. Not to say that every mantis being decides to do genetic work, but they are literally, their bodies,
Masters.
their minds, they're literally genetic masters. So any genetic work that is done within the Federation has to be approved by many councils. So it's really important that you go through certain channels when you create life. So going on to another thing, creating life. They do create life, and they do seed worlds with life. Now, what they've taught me is that, first of all, the universe is designed in a way by source consciousness. We're going to get into that. The universe exists in a way to support life. Not to say that every planet could support life, but there are a lot of planets out there that can support life. And where life can flourish, it will flourish. Life is everywhere in the universe. And I mean everywhere. Isn't that amazing to think about? There's so much life out there. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. But they seed life. They can find a planet and seed life. So technically, they're doing the work of our highest self, source consciousness. We are the painter and the painting. Everything is one. So we're either creating reality from a higher perspective, as like God's source, or we can create life forms from this other level perspective. But essentially, it's all the same. We're just painting a picture on different levels of existence. Everything is art. That's what they taught me, is that everything is art, and beauty is in everything. And we need to love each other, flourish life, protect life, create life with morals, of course, and go by the galactic law. But yeah, it's beautiful.
So you're mentioning the galactic law. What is that?
There are different rules within the Galactic Federation. Um, it's like politics, but it's not like Earth politics. So you have different groups, you have different like councils, and they're all divided into these group consciousnesses. They get together and they collectively are on the same page. They don't argue amongst themselves. So they are a like group consciousness. And all these different group consciousnesses deal with different things within the Federation. And they all make decisions, and then they send that information to each other, and they automatically know what conclusion they're going to make. So it's like a network of group consciousnesses that work together to make decisions.
I've talked with an experiencer that works with a council of eight. There are eight different species. One is Anunnaki, one is Mantis, a couple of Greys,
Yes.
and I forget the rest of them, but they're part of a council.
Mhm.
So, and she said that there are many different councils, like what you're saying,
Yep.
but that's a very small council of eight that she particularly works with. So, can you talk a little bit more about that and people who do communicate with maybe not just one consciousness on the other side, but several, like a council?
Yes. So did you know that Gene Roddenberry, the writer of Star Trek,
Yeah.
is actually in contact with the Council of Nine, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was the Council of Nine. So he actually meditated. He was in contact with one of these councils. And it said that Star Trek was an inspiration from these beings that he communicated with and was in contact with. So when you watch Star Trek, so yeah, that's pretty much what the universe is like out there, but mix it with spiritual beings and souls and reincarnation, and then you got reality. So I thought that was amazing. But yes, there are many different councils that people can be connected to, particularly people here to do a job like Star Seeds. We all have people that we answer to, that we connect to. I communicate with the Council of Nine as well. So it's very vague though. They give me tiny directions, but they usually give information to other ETs, and then those ETs get the information to me. So it just kind of trickles down. Every now and then I can feel the Council of Nine. They usually come in when it involves something that I'm not supposed to talk about or not supposed to do, and they're like, whoa, that's you're not supposed to do that or not talk about that yet. So they're more strict and more yeah.
So the Council of Nine that you work with, is that the same Council of Nine that Gene Roddenberry worked with,
I
or
believe
different?
so, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense to me that someone like Gene Roddenberry and maybe the other people who've created movies and stuff about those type of things, even the science fiction writers,
Hmm.
to help us kind of have the language to talk about these things. So we have kind of a sense and our understanding of the bigger picture, the galactic picture,
That's right.
versus if we didn't have that information, people wouldn't, when you said beam me up Scotty or whatever, understanding these different things about frequencies and energies, we wouldn't have a contact. So
Exactly.
that makes sense to me.
Yep,
you know
disclosure has been happening for a long, long time. Like
Mhm.
Star Trek, all that. It's like little seeds planted, like you said. Everything has just been laid perfectly for humanity to ease into the pool of the water. That way it's not such a shock on your system.
Right. If you had one ET species to say have dinner with, which one would it be?
Oh my gosh. um the Pleiadians. They are amazing. And it's not just because they're the most human-like, it's because it's a personal thing for me. I feel like they have communicated with me more. I feel more connected to the Pleiadians, and I just love their energy. I love their frequency. They're easy to talk to, and they talk less in riddles and more in direct conversation. So, but that's probably a personal thing for me in the way my mind perceives things. But I think mostly because I've been in contact with Pleiadians the most, and I feel more comfortable around them. Not that I don't feel comfortable around other ones, but I feel more connected.
What has been the most challenging part of integrating all of this over the years, emotionally, physically, personally? What's helped you stay grounded, or what practices or things do you do to kind of not, go nuts over it, I guess, because for some people it could be too much information, and they can't ground that information. So
Yep.
what do you do?
Some people like us, unfortunately, can't handle it. And so it's like the ETs hope for the best for type 2 hybrids. And they hold our hand as much as they can, but they can't do everything for us. But unfortunately, sometimes the information gets crossed, the wires get crossed, ego becomes too big, and we go into psychosis. It's a real problem. And for that, I'll get into me, but for that, remember to stay grounded. Think logically. Use your intuition. Use your heart. Talk to someone. Just stay grounded. If you're given information or feel like something is true, don't believe it right away. Put it into a gray box. And if it comes up again from somewhere else, look for signs, look for connections. That's what I do. My brain looks for connections. And that's what's helped me stay grounded and stay in control of the situation. So I can go out and like believe everything that I hear, but I don't. It keeps me focused. It keeps me like a information control is what it is. So you need to have that information control, but not so much that it wouldn't allow change to come into the system, but stay grounded. It's very important. What I do is I love xenobiology, astrobiology, same thing, speculative biology. I love quantum physics. I love all that stuff. So what I do in my free time, when I do get free time, I work on projects that involve those things. I write papers, and the AI helps me write papers and on different astrobiology and theoretical physics and equations that could like bridge the gap between spirituality and physics and everything. So I like to explore those, and that's what keeps me grounded. And I love art, any kind of art. I love singing. I sing light language music. I'll give you a sample of that here when we're done. Light language is the language of the universe, and it helps me stay grounded. It's the flow of energy from source into your body and out your mouth. And source consciousness is everything, it's everyone. All souls in existence are all connected to source consciousness. We're all God. We are the painter and the painting.
At some point, you chose to step into a public role as opposed to keeping all of these experiences private. And you might have covered it a little bit when you said you got a vision to create the UEI. So what helped you to make that decision, especially knowing the stigma that's out there when people say, I'm a UFO experiencer?
Well, my whole life, I've been bullied. I've been called names. I've been ridiculed. I've always been the oddball out, as so are a lot of other type 2 hybrids. We just kind of stick out like a sore thumb. A lot of us are into science and biology and aliens, and of course, we get picked on. So I was used to being the oddball out, and I got to the point in my life way before this where I didn't care what people thought about me. And I think that kind of not hardened me, but helped me understand people's psychology, how they act, why they act. It's all about perspective. So now when people attack me or say these things, I know it's not from a place of hatred. It's from a place of not understanding. It's from a place of they come from different backgrounds. They don't have the whole information. And we can't judge them because they judge us. We have to understand what true forgiveness is. True forgiveness comes from understanding and putting yourself in other people's shoes and having unconditional love. True forgiveness is not forgiving one person and not the other. You have to forgive unconditionally across the board. And this also goes, I know I'm kind of going off into something else, but this also goes along with contacting extraterrestrials. If you want to contact extraterrestrials, you need to unconditionally love yourself and others. Dissolve your fear of ETs and forgive yourself and forgive others and just work on yourself. And if you want a friendship with them, imagine you're wanting a friendship with someone, and if you're wanting that friendship with the ETs to get something in return, they're not going to want to be friends with you. You have to be open, you have to be pure and loving and just say, I'm here, I love you, I just love to talk to you. No strings attached. And just send that love out into the universe.
You said that you could give us some direction on if we do want to communicate with the ETs, like reach out to them as friends. I know that Dr. Greer has a CE5, contact app and all of that, and it's through meditation and higher vibration and all of that. What recommendations do you have, or how do you teach people to connect with the ETs?
So my process is probably the most simplest process you'll see in the whole phenomenon. Um, the key point to remember before I teach you this is to remember that no matter what process you're doing, whatever procedures you're doing, keep love at the center. Keep unconditional love at the center and grounding. You have to have some grounding and fill your heart with love and dissolve fear. Those are the three components that you need to have when you're doing any procedure, whatever you have. So my procedure, it consists of, you can do this by yourself or a group of people. Start working on yourself. Like I said earlier, love yourself, love others, forgive yourself, forgive others, understand forgiveness, and work on your problems. Dissolve fear. To dissolve fear, I recommend imagining them in a good light, like daydream about them doing amazing things with you, like having a bike ride or going to the movies or whatever. Just like reprogram your mind and put them in different settings, because Hollywood has really twisted people's minds about ETs. So kind of try to reprogram your mind in that way. And then the actual procedures that I do and I teach is that you could do this with a group of people or by yourself, but make sure that you're all on the same page, that you've all been doing those things that I talked about. And you can sit down or stand, it doesn't matter, whatever's comfortable for you. Close your eyes. And anybody listening to this anywhere, any time of the day, close your eyes and do this with me if you want, as long as you're not driving. But close your eyes. And then I want you to listen. I want you to listen to all the sounds around you. Pick out one sound at a time and make a connection with that sound. And know that that is you. That there is no separation between you and that thing making that sound. And do all the sounds and then put it all together. And then I want you to open your eyes and I want you to look around and see everything around you and feel that connection between you and everything around you. And know that there is no separation between you and everything around you, because everything is one. And then once you get that in your mind, just kind of imagine going out bigger and bigger. You are the planets. You are the solar system. You are the galaxy. You are the universe. You are all of reality. You are source. You are God. Everyone is God. Everyone is connected. Feel that love. Feel that connection. And then I want you to feel that love into your heart. Feel all the things that you love, everything, everyone, anything that makes you happy in life, that brings you to that highest point of excitement. Fill your heart with that love. And then I want you to think of how much love you have for the extraterrestrial, or how much you just love all living beings. And then I want you to send it out into the universe. So imagination is creation. Imagine it. When you're imagining sending it out, you are literally sending out your aura, your energy. This telepathic communication comes from the heart. Send out the love into the universe and say, I love you. I would love to see any being that's positive and for my greater good to come into my area. It doesn't have to be those exact words, just the intention. Say, only positive beings are allowed in my area. I am here. I love you. I'm so grateful for you. Whether you show up or not, I don't want anything in return. Just send out that love unconditionally and have a good time. And if you're having a good time with no strings attached, you're going to eventually see something. Now, you can do similar procedures before bed. Just do the grounding, the love, send it out and say, I'd love to see you in my dreams. Please contact me. I'm ready for communication. But again, you have to start working on yourself, being in service to others by making people feel good about themselves and loving themselves. Encourage people to love themselves and love yourself. It's all connected. The more you love yourself and love others, the more easier it's going to be for you to contact ETs and for them to contact you in return.
Thank you. That's perfect. And it's so in line with where I come from the Good Vibes TV perspective. I like to use the map of consciousness scale that Dr. David R. Hawkins used, that has fear on the bottom, the scale of emotions, fear on the bottom, love basically on top. And the whole idea of good vibes is getting into those higher vibrations of love, peace, joy, happiness,
Mm,
abundance, and living in that space.
that's right.
But at the time when I started the show, I didn't realize, to me, then you thrive. But now it seems like there's even once you get to those energies and experience those things, now you're opening yourself up to even a whole nother level of consciousness and connection with our galactic family. Because I like to call them our star family, like the Native Americans talked about, or their star
Hmm.
people or star family.
It,
And
it's
by just
it's
calling
amazing.
them
It's
different
beautiful.
names,
Hmm.
then we are inviting them in and not having that fear. So thank you for doing that. Let's talk about the United Experiences Initiative. You mentioned it a little earlier, but tell us a little bit more about that and how people can be part of that, especially if they're maybe the type twos or people that are type one that want to open up their psychic ability and telepathy to communicate with the ET.
The United Experiencers Initiative, at this current moment, is a 501c3 pending. I have to say that for legal reasons, but it is a nonprofit. So I established the United Experience Initiative, UEI, for experiencers. At first, it's going to be focused on experiencers because we are here to help humanity, and we've had experiences. Now, the main thing, we are disclosure. Okay, of course, parts of disclosure is going to come from the government, nitty gritty, physical answers, crafts, bodies, and stuff. Experiencers hold the truths that people need to hear. People need to start telling their stories, and because now is the time to talk about it. We're here, the UEI is here to dissolve the stigma, to encourage people to come out, to spread love and unity, to help the planet and to help each other. We are here to help educate you on what we've experienced and to help you bring peace and love into people's lives. And I know there's negative experiences too. So we're also going to provide resources like lists and resources for people to go to find places for help, to help you understand what happened. A lot of experiencers, like a big percentage, like in the 90% range, that go through regression therapy, remember something positive from a negative experience. So it's really important that you really, when you're ready to really dive into it, to find the answers and to really figure out if it was an actual negative experience. But I'm not downplaying anybody's experiences at all. But the UVI is important because it's one cell in a body, like an organic cell, that's playing a part in disclosure. There are many cells working together. The UEI is giving experiencers that backbone, that podium, you know, that validity that people can say, hey, I'm part of the UEI. There's millions of us out there and we are real. So it gives them the courage to be part of something that to help humanity. So a lot of us have had experiences where they have given us information about disasters and natural disasters and the planet going awry. And what do we do with that? Right? There's little groups here and there around the world. Yeah, there's little, those are important for experiencers. But now is the time to take all those little groups and put it into one unit so we can actually take action to start helping people, to encourage them to come together as a community, clean up the environment, socialize, have dinners in the community, all kinds of different stuff. And then further down in the road, we're going, I'm going to have to do some more paperwork to get it legalized to be able to do this, but we're going to try to get a bill passed to protect experiencers currently and in the future from discrimination in the workplace and the public sector. So that's going to be important. And we're also going to create a school system or school systems or a system with different schools around the world to teach psychic abilities, remote viewing, telepathy, all these amazing things to help humanity unlock what's inside of them, to get you to the point where we can have a beautiful city on Earth with like everyone living in peace and harmony. And that's the world that we want, the Galactic Federation wants. And I think that's what a lot of people want, and they're ready for a change. And you can see the change happening around you. Everything is happening at the right time, all in different directions, just meeting up. So the UEI is here. If you hear this message right now, we are here. We support you, and we love you. And you're not alone. We are Disclosure.
I'm going to put the website, theuei.org. And if people want to reach out to you, they can email you, right? Nadalee at theuei.org. And is it okay to put your phone number on the screen as well?
Yes, that's my business number. starseedgenetics.com if you want to participate in the genetic research, or if you want to donate for the genetic research, that would be helpful.
So tell us again about starseedsgenetic.com.
So Starseed Genetics is the project that Max Rempel is doing, and the UEI is helping him like advertise and get the word out. So we're collaborating with him, and it's a genetic project to find the type 2 hybrid DNA inside of us. Let's find the alien genetic markers that are inside of the individual that the mother and father doesn't necessarily have. So we're going to be testing the mother and the father, and then the child. I say child, but grown individual. You have to be 18 years or older to participate. But we're looking for genetic markers that are not in the parents. And then when we find those markers, we can do more research and kind of go back, but that's further down the road. It's a very important research, and I think it's going to be a really important part of Disclosure. And once we get enough funds to do the research, and Max is amazing. I have to give him props. He's an amazing geneticist, amazing guy. He's helped me a lot with the UEI, and I really appreciate him. So please check him out at starseedgenetics.com. Check out the project. You guys will love it. It's a lot of stuff. It's amazing. Time to be alive, and things are going to change on this planet very soon. People are starting to open up. And one more thing, labels. When people talk about labels, when it comes to ETs, people like to put ETs in different boxes and label them different things. Just start dissolving your labels. I know labels are important for humans, but sometimes they restrict us. So a being may look like an angel, it may look like this or that, but just remember, deep down, they're all just conscious beings. They're all just entities that come from different places, different dimensions, different planets. And they do have underwater bases and bases underground as well. They come on and off planet. They come from everywhere. And they come in all different sizes and different shapes. But again, they're conscious beings. Remember that.
So what would you say is the most unexpected gift or blessing that's come from your journey from these encounters?
Oh my. My telepathic abilities recently have increased to the point of startling people. But I love being telepathic because it helps me gather information. When I'm talking to someone, I can get what they're thinking quicker, and I can go ahead and analyze it and answer them before they say stuff. So it helps me break more efficient, and I'm always about more efficiency. So I love being more telepathic. I love remote viewing. My remote viewing was really, really good, but strangely enough, my remote viewing abilities kind of went down, like far off remote viewing, and my close-up remote viewing has gotten better, like on-the-spot remote viewing, different things like that. And my telepathy is risen as well. So the more contact that happens with people like us, the more psychic abilities get opened up and unlocked within our genetic code, and it allows our souls to be more that way. I love. Okay, this tops that. Sorry, the love, the ability. That's what's the most amazing thing is that I got out of all of this is being able to love at a higher degree, to where I can say I love you, and I mean it to entirely everything in existence, all beings, every piece of matter in the universe. I say I love you, and I can feel it radiate. I have a more intense amount of love, and it's something that there's no words for. And I hope that everyone can feel this one day.
One video I've come across on YouTube, and when you say, it's all about love, some people have or saying that Jesus was actually an alien. Have any comments on that?
Yes, so there have been a lot of people like us, type 2 hybrids, that have existed throughout history. Back in the day, we were less common, and the DNA was more concentrated. The alien DNA was more concentrated because there was less of us. We had to do more jobs and be more efficient. So Jesus was one of us. So was Buddha. So was all the other spiritual leaders in pivotal times in history. We've been teaching the same stuff. Reincarnation is real. There is a life after death. And it's amazing. Love is the key to everything. Consciousness is everywhere. We've been teaching the same thing, but the problem is humanity twists the subject sometimes. And Jesus wanted us to follow in his ways, not follow him. People started worshiping him, but he didn't want people to worship him. He wanted people to live in the way like Jesus. So he said that we are one with the Father, and they were like, "Oh, you're one with the Father," and then it gets all mixed up from there on. So just look inward and know that everything is God. But Jesus, yes, Jesus was a type 2 hybrid extraterrestrial, in my opinion.
Good to know. Good to know. Yeah, and I have no problem with that. I mean, personally, but for the hardcore Christians to come to that realization, I know it's a big stretch for them. Tell us a little bit about your work with Citizens for Disclosure. It's the activist arm of the New Paradigm Institute. I'm also one of the co-leaders for the state of Florida. I think you're a volunteer, but I just wanted to plug them a little bit, let people know what you think is important for people to get involved with it and that kind of thing.
Thank you so much for bringing that up. I was going to bring that up actually at some point. Thank you for reminding me. So yes, Citizens for Disclosure is an amazing, amazing organization, nonprofit that is doing amazing things for disclosure. Danny Sheehan is amazing, absolutely great gentleman. I've had dinner with him, and he's just a delight. And we talked about the CFD, and so the CFD, Citizens for Disclosure, was created to help get the files from the government, to get the information that they've been hiding from us, the stuff that we deserve to know, because they've been literally taking our tax money and throwing it into black projects, back engineered technology that they've stolen from ETs. That's a whole nother topic, but of morality and should we use that technology even if it comes out and whatever. But anyway, Citizens for Disclosure is important because they encourage congressmen or congresswomen, congresspeople, to vote on a bill, the disclosure bill, to help get that information out. So please check out the newparadigminstitute.org if you guys want to be a part of the CFD as well. The UEI, the United Experiencers Initiative, fully supports the CFD, and I hope in the near future, that we'll be doing more collaborations between the CFD and the UEI. And we are literally doing the same job on a different frequency. They're doing the physical frequency, like the technology, the files, and the stuff that's been hidden from you physically on the planet. The UEI is teaching you how to connect with ETs and the importance of spirituality inside of you, and doing active, good thinking, having good mental health, spiritual health, and we're not medical doctors. For legal reasons, I have to say that the UEI is not affiliated with anything medical.
Now, I understand that you, besides the website, the UEI.org website, you also are on TikTok. So I'm going to put that up on the screen. Do you want to talk a little bit about your TikTok channel and what people can learn and gain from being part of that?
Yes. So on my TikTok, I share my ET stories, some ET stories that I haven't shared here. I have others, but I share all my stories there. And I teach people about source consciousness, love, and how to connect ETs. I usually go over the same information almost every day, or when I can live stream. But sometimes we have experiencers on the show, and they tell their experiences. So we're going to start doing that more often. I do these live streams at night, and I call them down. I do the procedures that we talked about earlier in this podcast. and they come down from the sky and from the mountains, and they show themselves. And we've seen amazing stuff on our shows. And just like Chris Bledsoe, we can summon them. We can call them to us if we have that right frequency and that love. Everyone can do this if you know how. And I've taught you how on this podcast. So it's all about love. It's all about that openness and unconditional love.
I was going to ask if you had anything else to share, or if there's any message from the ETs that you would like to share. I think the whole show today has been about that. But if there's any last comments that you'd like to make about that, please do.
I do want to share my last abduction experience. I want to top it off with that because I think it's an important one for certain types of experiencers out there, if that's okay. In the middle of the night, my body was vibrated. This was a physical abduction, and I started floating out of my bed. And I was like 2 or 3 inches above my bed, then I black out. And then I find myself floating in this dark room at like an angle. And I'm kind of like, what is going on here? Kind of freaking out. And this giant Tootsie Roll, like a giant elongated Tootsie Roll, come down from the ceiling. And like a robot arm, but it was like organic. And it stops about a foot and a half from my chest. And it shoots tubes into my chest. And the arm was kind of like a mustardy brown. The tubes are really like light khaki colored, and they were like ribbed looking, and they just a bunch of them shot into my chest. And I started screaming. It was so much pain. I started screaming. I was freaking out, but I couldn't really move, but I was floating there. So I was just like, ah. And then I blacked out, and then I woke up in my bed, and then I was screaming and sweating, and I was like, oh my God, what is going on? But then when I calmed down, I realized that I could breathe better. I was like, oh my God, they cleared my lungs. There was something wrong with my lungs that I could take more air in. So when I got to work that day, I started coughing. I was like, what is going on? And turns out there was an exhaust leak at my work, that they weren't properly venting the exhaust in my area. And I heard them telepathically in my mind. They said, we cleared your lungs because you've been breathing the stuff in, and you need to start wearing a mask now because you're more sensitive to it now. And I was like, wow, okay. So I had to wear a mask in that department from now on. But the most important thing to take away from this story is the experience may have seemed negative. And maybe they let me remember that, or made me remember that, to make that connection so I can understand why they did it, for me to take care of myself. So just because you have a negative experience doesn't mean it may actually be negative. There's other things that are going on behind the scenes. So do regression therapy. Not that I recovered that from regression, but do regression therapy and understand why certain people have experiences. But other than that, I want to leave you on this. Everyone is capable of love or hate. It's up to you to decide how you live your life. And I just want to encourage you to do the right thing. Be a better person. Be the better person in the situation. When people send you hate, don't accept the hate. Send them love back instead. Turn the other cheek, so to speak. I love you so much. I really do. And the ETs love you so much. We love you. And we hope the best for you. And that's all we can do. We can guide you to the water, but we can't make you drink. And I just hope that you drink the water, so to speak. I love you so much. And just start loving yourself and loving others, because that's where it starts. Let's make the world a better place.
Thank you, Nadalee. I appreciate that so much. And I love you too. And I send out love to everyone, all sentient beings, all beings, because that is where it's at. That's the answer. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Lesley. Thank you for having me today. It's been such a treat. And always stay bright and stay amazing. Love yourself and love others.
Thank you for joining me on Galactic Good Vibes. My intention for this series is to create a safe, grounded space where experiencers can share their stories without fear or stigma. And this is where we can meet disclosure with clarity, compassion, and discernment. If this conversation resonated with you, please take a moment to integrate what you've heard. Stay grounded, trust your inner knowing, and remember that awareness expands best in a field of calm, not fear. Until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your vibration high, and your heart open. Peace out, everyone.